Eccoci, benvenuti a questo collegamento speciale che dà inizio in un certo senso alla settimana Mondo Unito 2020 e buongiorno, buon pomeriggio e buonasera a tutti. Io sono Paolo, sono un giornalista e lavoro alla televisione italiana. Allora, tanti di voi sapranno che in realtà questa settimana Mondo Unito sarebbe dovuta iniziare in Corea e invece lo vedete, inizia da qui, da una cucina di un appartamento romano e quindi che cosa faremo oggi? Oggi faremo una vera e propria maratona, una corsa per il mondo, un po' perché staremo insieme anche un po' più a lungo, ma vogliamo andare proprio a vedere come nel mondo che vive un momento drammatico l'impegno per la fraternità in realtà non si sia mai fermato. Allora, io ho parlato di corsa e non voglio più perdere tempo, andiamo subito in Corea. Ciao Liz!
A big hello from Korea. I'm Liz. We Koreans couldn't miss United World Week. COVID has changed our lives here too, but it hasn't diminished our people's strength or determination. So a special great thanks to everyone and over to Olivia.
Hello everyone, Kia ora koutou katoa from New Zealand. It's just past midnight here, so we are the first to start United World Week 2020. To you, Ezekiel.
Howdy y'all, hello from Texas. I am 15 years old and I study in high school. But now, with the coronavirus emergency, we're having school at home. Hola, Anita Martinez.
Hola a todos, soy Anita Martínez de Córdoba, Argentina. Soy periodista y hoy hablaremos un poco de lo que pasa en América Latina. Le paso la palabra a Facundo, que es argentino y habla desde Italia.
Hola a todos, Lopiano, cerca de Florencia. Soy Facundo y acá en esta ciudadela vivimos concretamente una experiencia de hermandad universal que te abre verdaderamente al mundo. Vamos con vos, ponle.
Hey everyone, I'm Conleth from Northern Ireland. I'm a lawyer who wants to specialise in conflict resolution. And that's why I'm here in Rome, volunteering for the United World Project for this year. Bonjour Arnaud.
Salut à tous. Salutations dans mon pays, le Burundi. Même sur le continent africain, les belles histoires de ceux qui vivent un monde plus uni ne manquent pas. Nous le verrons bientôt, mais pas avant d'avoir dit bonjour à Laxman.
Yo, namaste. I'm Lakshman from Nepal. I'm a flight attendant, but I've stopped at the minute because we're not flying. I'm also a choreographer and I'm speaking to all of you from Qatar. It's so great to be here with all of you. Marhaban, Pascal.
Salutations à tous. Salutations aussi de Beyrouth. Même le Liban ne pouvait manquer cette rencontre avec le monde uni. À bientôt et en attendant, j'envoie un marhaba à Gloria.
Hello everybody. I'm Gloria from Hong Kong, China. We are many people working for a better world. Hola Aline, the floor is yours.
Oi pessoal, eu sou a Aline, uma saudação especial aqui de São Paulo. Eu sou diretora de televisão, sou casada e tenho 2 filhos. E eu estou muito feliz de estar nessa maratona hoje com vocês. O título da Semana Mundo Unido é In Time for Peace. Mas será possível viver pela paz mesmo nessas condições? Mesmo em tempo de coronavírus? Queremos descobrir hoje, todos juntos, com a ajuda de muitos, de todos.
Allora, benissimo. Intanto è passato da poco mezzogiorno che è l'orario in cui nel mondo ormai da quasi 30 anni molte persone si fermano da qualsiasi attività per pregare un momento per la pace o anche soltanto per riflettere. Vogliamo cominciare anche oggi col time out, lo facciamo insieme e poi partiamo.
We can't get used to this. We can't be indifferent. We should do something. We have to stop.
Stop! 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 Stop!
Stop!
Stop! Stop! Stop! Stop! Stop!
At 12, together we all do the time out. We take a minute of silence or prayer to ask for peace and we focus the personal commitment to build it where we are.
We are the Gen 3 of Houston, and we've been taking a time out of our day at 12 o'clock, and we've been doing Time for Peace with a couple of other people from different states and different countries.
Now, let's do it. This is crucial. Now it's your turn to do the timeout every day to cry out the urgency of peace.
Compartiendo esperanzas, dividiendo dolores, abrazando el camino uno del otro, uno del otro, uno del otro, uno del otro, uno del otro. Veremos los pueblos, leeremos la historia, amaremos la patria uno del otro, uno del otro. Más allá de las lenguas, más allá de las razas, amaremos el credo uno del otro. Compartiendo esperanzas, dividiendo dolores, abrazando el camino uno del otro, uno del otro. Olvidando el pasado, las heridas lejanas, construir el futuro uno del otro. Lo haré, tú lo harás, tú lo harás, yo lo haré y me lo juego todo, daré toda mi vida por ti, yo lo haré, tú lo harás, yo lo haré, daré toda mi vida porque sea así. Uno del otro, uno del otro, uno del otro, uno del
Thank you to Mosaico, a group born after a generoso tour of Spain in 2017. The piece they sang was called Uno del Otro, for one another. 250 filmmakers came together to share one global pandemic story. Let's have a listen.
Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the housebound.
You're so welcome.
All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality. To how big we really are. To how little control we really have. To what really matters. To love. So we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. Yes, there is even death. But there can always be a rebirth of love. Wake to the choices you make as to how to live now. Today, breathe. Listen behind the factory noises of your panic. The birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming. And we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul. And though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing.
The presence and loving care of a father of all calls each person to be a daughter or a son, loving the father in return and living out day by day the father's loving plan for each person's life. That is, to carry out his will. And we know that a father's first desire is for his children to treat each other as brothers and sisters, care for and to love one another. They should know and practice what can be defined as the art of loving. This art calls on us to love each person as ourselves, because as Gandhi said, "You and I are one. I cannot hurt you without hurting myself." This art calls on us to take the initiative in loving without waiting for the other person to love us. It means knowing how to make ourselves one with others, that is, to take on their burdens, their thoughts, their sufferings and their joys. If this love for the others is lived by many people, it becomes mutual. Certainly today, whoever attempts to shift the mountains of hatred and violence faces a huge and heavy task. But what is impossible for millions of isolated and divided people becomes possible to those who have made reciprocal love, mutual understanding and unity the motivating force of their lives. Nothing good, useful, or fruitful can be accomplished in the world without accepting hardship and suffering. In a word, without the cross. Being committed to bringing peace is not something to be taken lightly. We need courage. We need to know how to suffer. Certainly, if more people were to accept suffering out of love, the suffering that love requires of us, it could become the most powerful weapon for giving humanity its highest dignity. That of feeling that we are not so much a set of peoples alongside one another and often in conflict with one another, but that we are one single people. This communitarian spirituality is not necessarily linked to one church. It is universal and can therefore be lived by many. Through this spirituality, men and women throughout the world are slowly but surely sowing the seeds of a new civilization, a new and peaceful world, which is more welcoming, especially towards those who are most in need. May God the Father of all make these efforts of ours fruitful, along with the efforts of all those who are working towards the lofty goal of peace. As John Paul II said to the United Nations on the 50th anniversary of its founding, in the next century and the next millennium, we can build a civilization worthy of the human person, a true culture of freedom and peace. He continued, we can and we must do this. In doing so, we shall see that the tears of this century have prepared the ground for a new springtime of the human spirit.
What is impossible if we are isolated becomes possible if we make reciprocal love and unity the driving force of our lives. A powerful and prophetic message from Kara Lubick. The world is physically isolated today because it needs to be. Yet as we travel the world here together, we can see, even in this time, the impossible has become possible. The solidarity, the love, the fight for justice, the search for peace, all possible, all needed.
Latin
America is a continent of great contrasts, and one of the countries most affected by the pandemic is Ecuador, where there is also a distinct experience of inequality in society and challenges to peace. We're now going over to them to hear what they are experiencing there. We have with us the Apostolic Nuncio to Ecuador, Archbishop Andre Caracosa Coso, and Clara Carrillo. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thanks.
First of all, Archbishop, we want to ask you about the situation of the pandemic in Ecuador at the moment and what the Church is doing to help the people there.
As a country, we are in a state of shock like all countries in the world. No one was prepared for this. It has been a terrible tragedy because we were overwhelmed by the pandemic. Little by little, the number of deaths is still increasing, but following the same patterns as in other countries, the trend is slowing down. In this situation, the Church has tried to help people on various levels. At the level of worship, there are only a few parishes that have not been able to connect virtually with their parishioners because people want to see their parish priest. There is also spiritual and even psychological accompaniment for many people who are suffering. And then, in the form of solidarity, Caritas has worked on various fronts, but above all, in order to reach the most vulnerable, it is trying to work together with other groups, both governmental and private, to create cooperation. Of course, not everything can be achieved, but considerable work is being done. In this sense, especially in the area of Guayaquil, several priests have fallen ill, including a few bishops. From my part, at a certain point, responding to an appeal from the faithful and thinking of the blessing that the Pope had sent, I took the initiative to give the blessing with the Blessed Sacrament on Holy Thursday on behalf of the Pope. These were very strong experiences of faith.
Thank you very much, Archbishop Caracosa. We are with you at this special time and ask God to give you strength. Clara, on the other hand, this disease has affected you personally very much. Could you tell us a little bit about what you've been going through?
Hola, soy Clara. Vivo aproximadamente a unos 15 kilómetros de Guayaquil y precisamente por esta enfermedad, a causa de esta enfermedad, he perdido a 3 familiares, mi padre y 2 tíos de mi mamá. Mi papá estuvo enfermo 4 días. El lunes 30 de marzo, por la mañana, conversé un par de minutos con él por teléfono. Intenté en pocos segundos transmitirle la fe. Le decía que mis hermanos y yo estábamos orando por él. Y recuerdo muy bien las últimas palabras. Le dije que Dios lo bendiga y que lo acompañe. Esa misma noche llaman para decirme que mi papi había fallecido por un infarto. No hubo manera de reanimarlo. Tampoco tuvimos la oportunidad de darle un sepelio tradicional. Posteriormente, el 5 de abril y el 9 de abril fallecen los 2 tíos de mi mami, aparentemente todos a causa del coronavirus. ¿Qué decir ante esta situación? Uno nunca está preparado para afrontar una prueba así. Pero en medio de todo, parecía como si a través de la oración todos estos momentos de dolor y separación eran un llamado de Jesús. Podía confirmar que no estaba sola, que muchas personas me sostenían y estaban pendientes de mí y de mi familia. Hoy puedo asegurar que siento una gran paz, aunque todavía a ratos me conmuevo, pero a medida que van pasando los días, he logrado entender que los tiempos de Dios son perfectos. A pesar de las condiciones, he podido tener una relación renovada con Jesús. Mayor comunicación con mi familia y con amigos, incluso con aquellos que están a cientos de kilómetros. Siempre se han hecho presentes, tal vez con algún mensaje, alguna palabra de apoyo. Algunas personas me dicen, por ejemplo, que soy valiente, que soy fuerte, porque estoy pudiendo superar bastante bien estos momentos de dolor. Y mi respuesta ha sido que no soy yo, pero sí ayuda mucho esto de ir más allá del dolor, sabiendo que poco a poco esto se va a transformar, porque hay quienes están pasando situaciones mucho más difíciles que la mía. Actos concretos como, por ejemplo, escribir un mensaje de texto a quien está enfermo, dar palabras de confianza, también para aquellos que pasan momentos de angustia, escuchar a quienes simplemente necesitan eso, ser escuchados. Vivir el luto me ha permitido también ser empática, decir con sinceridad que puedo compartir el dolor de la otra persona que ha perdido un familiar, un ser querido, que lo siento como mío, literalmente, e inmediatamente asegurarles mis oraciones.
Thank you very much, Clara. They are not empty words. We're with you. I think your testimony is surely a gift for us, and it gives us renewed perspective to help us live through this time. Thank you both.
Gracias.
Ahora, con esta fuerte experiencia en el corazón, vamos
Now, with the strong experience in our hearts, let's go to Buenos Aires to meet Dr. Cristina Calvo, an Argentinian economist and director of the international program Democracy, Society and New Economy at the University of Buenos Aires, to give us her vision of what is happening in the world and in Latin America. Hi Cristina, how are you? Nice to see you.
Hi Annie.
El coronavirus.
The coronavirus brings out many situations of social injustice. How can we combat this inequality?
As you say, the coronavirus certainly reveals that very often the values of justice, solidarity and equity remain as abstract terms and don't exactly shape public policy. I'll give you just 2 examples. One is that poor people in vulnerable neighborhoods don't have clean water to wash their hands. Secondly, refugees and undocumented migrants have no access to emergency aid. This dramatically illustrates pre-existing inequalities. Nonetheless, we still need to discuss how to combat inequality because we're in the middle of the emergency. But we certainly need more goods in common, more investment in healthcare systems, greater respect for nature, the restoration of ecosystems, and many more relationships of affection and nearness. Now, crises help us become aware, but that's not enough, because later on, awareness must be accompanied by memory, by action, thought, and creativity. This is important so as to be able to take more and better care of one another.
What do you think we can do so that the economy is guided by justice and not by markets?
No doubt, the coronavirus is also showing that the system we are immersed in is not a viable system for people's lives. Just think that in recent years, both in the north and in the south, there have been huge cuts in public spending on health, assistance to the poor, and pensions. And today, paradoxically, these are the biggest costs that governments are having to bear to cope with the emergency situation. We've understood that the social dynamic is made up of many different things: politics, the economy, affection, culture. Becoming aware is really important, but it's not enough, because when we talk about structural issues, history shows that structural issues are transformed when the balance of power changes. Will this happen? We don't know. But Gramsci, I've always liked him, he distinguished between pessimism of the intellect and optimism of the will. And I choose the latter. The post-coronavirus period will be important if we go out, no longer on our own, no longer controlled or depressed, but on the contrary, more convinced that transformation is possible and that there is a different system that we can build.
Thank you so much, Christina. I'll go with this optimism of the will. I think it can be a summons for all of us who are listening to you on the other side, and we can all live it together.
Thanks, Annie.
Olá, sou Francisco. Vou explicar a ação dos enquadros. Vamos preparar biscoitos e bolos para entregar com a ajuda do adulto aos nossos heróis. Bombeiros, polícias, médicos, professores, lojas, todos que vocês conhecem. Fazem vídeos e fotos para mandarmos. Posso contar contigo? Adiós.
They say if you want peace, work for justice. Project Leah proves that. It is a prime example of how we can concretely be in time for peace.
With new tools, Joyce David explores a new job. It's an opportunity for a new path for the 38-year-old who is just weeks out of a 6-year sentence behind bars.
Just because I have a past doesn't, hinder my ability to be successful as an individual.
Joyce is one of 3 new employees of Project Leah, a nonprofit job training program specifically for formerly incarcerated women. In this space in the Circle City Industrial Complex, the women working here are repurposing discarded material into one-of-a-kind home and office furnishings. But there is a lot more to the hands-on work they are doing.
And then utilizing materials that other people have discarded or don't see the beauty in it. It's kind of like the same thing with us. People don't always see the beauty in us, so we are able to refurbish materials and refurbish ourselves kind of at the same time.
A lot of times these women are dealing with trauma and in a more survival mindset, and prevents you from dreaming big.
Elizabeth Wallen is the founder and executive director of Project Leah. It's her effort to reduce the recidivism rate in Indianapolis. Nearly 60% of women report not having full-time work in the month prior to arrest. In addition to providing employment, Project Leah offers skills training to help overcome obstacles to re-entry.
It's very entrepreneurial in ways, involved in all aspects of the business, from marketing, selling, producing, ideation of new products, and prototyping, which in ways is a good practice for their lives and what they're dealing with when they go back home.
We're joined now by Elizabeth Wallen, founder and director of Project Leah.
Hi, thank you for having me.
What I'd love to know, Elizabeth, what prompted you to start this, and what have you learned?
I got started after sort of realizing my passion towards creating more opportunities of economic justice and social solidarity for women here in the US that are largely disregarded from our communities, especially as they return back from incarceration and try to settle back in. So a lot of my passion drew out of that kind of fight for justice, as you speak to, and also in the value of a united world and how do we do that in action. One of the biggest things that I've learned and tried to continue to learn is that it's a long journey, an incredible journey. So it's work through a process as opposed to very like goal-oriented or task-based work where you can kind of see the end of it. So sometimes it's hard to stay focused in that present moment, but it's really what matters.
I listened to the story of one of the women who's been part of Project Leah, and I think her story could be the same story of many of the others who are part of Project Leah. Let's have a look at that story, and after we'll talk some more.
Great.
I was homeless. I didn't have a job. I had some personal tragedy type things that kind of took a toll on my ability to see beyond the darkness in it all. Overall, it's just been a series of bad decisions on my part in the past, and it kind of just led to my being incarcerated. During that time is when I got this position with Project Leah. The obvious way that it helps me is it gives me employment. I mean, I work, I get a wage, so I have some money coming in. They've helped me with transportation to get to and from work, and also to other obligations that I have because of my legal situation. And so to have people that I don't even know put some energy towards me being a better person and to be, something different than what I was prior to that, it's a huge deal to me. I mean, I feel I'm very grateful, I'm very humbled.
That was amazing. I think one of the great lessons, at least me listening here to you sharing your story, is that if we want to have this system change, we need to roll up our sleeves and get involved in this justice building work. And I know that many, many people who are listening here today, who are watching today, are going to be inspired by Project Leah and all of the work. And for that, Elizabeth, we say a massive thank you and good luck for all of the future work. For those of you who want to know more about Project Leah, go to the website www.projectleah.org.
Thank you.
So, working for peace doesn't only mean working with what is good, but also with what is beautiful, with beauty. And that's why we are connected right now with Montecatini Terme, which is a town near Florence in central Italy for those who don't know it. And with me, there is Antonella Lombardo, Elisa Catolfi, Maria Chiara Giaccai, Vera Zerellari, and Alessandra Spinetti. Hello, everyone.
Allora, Antonella, io comincerei da te. Perché tu sei stata ballerina.
Antonella, I will start with you because you were a dancer and also a choreographer, and now you direct an art centre, Dance Lab Armonia. Can you tell us how all this began?
Yes, I wanted young people who were starting to dance to experience dance in its highest sense, in its purest reality. At that time, I had the good fortune to meet Chiara Lubich, who gave me a name for this project, and the name was Harmony. She said that Harmony is also a huge program. In fact, it means very profound unity. Out of this project, a few years later, in 2006, the Harmony Among Peoples project began, which wants to bear witness that art has a superior language where everyone can meet, and we have often experienced that it truly is a tool for unity among peoples.
Antonella, in questo percorso...
Antonella, on this path that you have followed in starting up Harmony Among Peoples, an important part has been played by Elisa Catolfi, that at some point you met on your path. Elisa, tell us something about all this.
In 2006, this project really began, and it has various fronts. In Italy, the International Harmony Among Peoples Festival was founded, an international campus for high specialization in dance for young aspiring professional dancers from all parts of the world and from conflict zones. In the Middle East, instead, we began an arts campus for children from refugee camps and the Palestinian territories. In addition, there is a lot of work going on in schools of different kinds and levels, which then links into the Harmony for Peace March.
It's wonderful work, and here we're also lucky enough to have some girls who, like you and Lisa, have been or still are pupils of the school. One of these is Vera. Hi, Vera.
Hi. Good morning.
Can you tell us briefly how your life has changed since meeting Harmony Among Peoples?
Sì, la mia vita è cambiata molto dopo aver fatto
Yeah, my life changed a lot after having many experiences with the association, and our life has changed in daily life, in everything we do. And we also face difficulties in a different way. So I can say that for us young people, this art experience is really very important.
Because then it also affects your choices for the future. This, for example, can be explained by Maria Chiara. You made a particular choice for your life and your studies too. You've just graduated a few days ago, thanks to your experience with Harmony Dance Lab. Can you tell us more?
Yes,
thanks to this project, I chose what I wanted to study and the university I wanted to go to. In fact, I graduated last week in International Studies in Political Science, and so I hope that, thanks to my dance training, but also thanks to my studies, I will continue to work on concrete peace projects.
Fantastic. We have been talking a lot, but it's also nice to show something, because I know that you have prepared something for United World Week. Alessandra, over to you.
Through the choreography that we're going to see now, we want to witness that art can create a very profound unity.
So now let's watch the young people at Dance Lab together with everyone else around the world.
I made some big mistakes and I said some things I shouldn't think out loud. I tried to forget them. I couldn't, but there's something I found out. Father, I don't even if I'm falling down, down. You'll be there to catch and lift me up. And Father, I know if I wanna start a new round, I need you if I don't wanna be crushed. I need you now, 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 now. Please can you say
Here we are. Anna Modznik is linked up with us today. Hi, Anna. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Allora, Anna, tu sei un'educatrice sociale e lavori all'AMO.
So, Anna, you're a community teacher and you work at AMO, Action for a United World, which is an NGO, a non-governmental organization promoting development for individuals and peoples, but in the spirit of sharing, fellowship and solidarity. Is that right?
Yes.
Allora, Anna, tu lavori per AMO.
So, Anna, you work for AMO in the education department, which includes education for peace. Back in 2011, the Living Peace Project began in Egypt. What is it?
Living Peace International.
Living Peace International is a peace education project that began in Cairo in a primary school during the Arab Revolution. It was a difficult time of conflict, and a teacher, Carlos Palma, offered his pupils some simple tools to try to counteract the conflict and promote peace among them and with other people. The project is based on two fundamental pillars, time out and the practice of the dice of peace. So it's a project that helps young people practice values to do with peace, spreading them through concrete, everyday actions, and so contributing to building the culture of peace.
Anna, tu hai nominato il dado della pace.
The dice for peace, which we know because we've talked about it in other link-ups. Can you explain how it is used in the Living Peace International project?
Yes, the dice is an ordinary game dice, only that instead of numbers, there are phrases about values to do with peace. In the schools that use it, the dice is generally rolled every morning, and everyone is committed to living the phrase. This brings about visible change in the lives of young people, the students, but also of the teachers and the families too. The dice is spread all over the world and has been adapted to different cultures and religions.
Senti, Anna.
Listen, Anna, among the many initiatives that have developed in the context of Living Peace International, are there any that were particularly special for you and that you would like to tell us about?
Yes, I'm thinking of the experience in Nepal, where the young people in the Living Peace Network committed themselves to helping people who are very vulnerable. For example, collecting food to be distributed to families in need, or teaching children and teenagers the correct techniques for washing hands, or even distributing food in an orphanage for over a month. They and all of us continue to spread this fraternity antivirus, as we like to call it.
So, to sum up, you're not short of work?
No, not at all.
Okay, then I'll let you go to work. Thank you for being here with us and for starting United World Week with us.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So we are joined now by Emilia Ha, the Professor of International Relations and Peace Studies at Lusmikan Asia Pacific University. Hi, Emilia. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Liz. Greetings from Japan.
So, Emilia, we've just heard the stories from Dance Lab and Living Peace. You are an expert in reconciliation and peace studies. How can grassroots peacemaking efforts have influence on reconciliation between enemy states?
That's a very difficult question. Rebuilding a broken relationship is not easy, especially when it comes to state-to-state level. We usually expect governments to take an action, but these days we do have a lot of examples of a bottom-up approach that demonstrates the power of civil society, like the two experiences that we have seen before. At my current institution in Japan, where I teach international relations, we have students from more than 30 different nationalities sitting in one classroom. It's usually French next to German, a Chinese next to Japanese, a Sinhalese next to Tamil. They're in an enemy-state relationship. It looks like the beauty of diversity, but putting them together in one space does not automatically lead to it when we talk about painful past. Peace education, therefore, I think it's very crucial. And many of them aim at becoming diplomats, politicians, or leads like you working at international organizations. I consider it's very important that our younger generation steps into these fields with the commitment to work for the entire world and not just only for one country. Working for peace sounds very beautiful, but it's very difficult when you want to leave for it because you face a lot of division, hatred, and misunderstanding. But I think if we stay connected and leave our commitment together by throwing the die for peace, just like what we have seen in the previous video, I think it will have a huge impact into a larger scale and maybe up to the governmental level.
You argue that the COVID-19 pandemic proves the danger of me-first policy approach to international relations. Why? What can we do to change this?
Me first policy is commonly seen in international society, and it is the responsibility of the government to protect their citizens first. What I found dangerous is what we mean by me. Where do we put the barrier between me and you, or between us and others? So that line can stop at family members, friends, country, continent, or whole humanity, and we are free to choose where we want to draw the line, depending on our belief and conviction. But depending on where we drew that line, the future of our world will completely change. And I think unless we consider the whole humanity as one family, mistrust and hatred and ignorance, all of these towards others will only deepen and probably result in an even more worse disaster. So the first step to make a change for me, I would suggest it's simply to learn the difference. What do I have that they don't have, and why? Do I deserve to have more? Why does their country act differently from mine under the same situation? I think we should remember that no one holds the power to choose the place to be born. I could have been an Italian, a Chinese, or an American, whoever knows it. So giving hands to create a stronger sense of belonging that goes beyond the national border cannot happen over one night. I think it requires courage to open up ourselves, trust in others, even though we might get hurt again, or a genuine belief in love. But above all, I think it requires a strong desire for peace with them and not against them.
So thank you, Amelia, very much. I think, like me personally, I have to start doing my part. And thank you for this inspiration and efforts and enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we go to East Africa. Federico Aliotti is a young Italian engineer who has been working for about a year across Rwanda, Uganda and Congo on energy projects for small villages. Let's hear his story.
Ciao, sono Federico, ho 25 anni.
Hi, I'm Federico, I'm 25 years old and I'm an energy engineer. My home is near Rome. A year and a half ago I graduated and I decided to travel to East Africa with some students and teachers from the University of Rome.
Durante questo viaggio abbiamo attraversato Ruanda, Uganda e Kenya.
During this journey, we crossed Rwanda, Uganda and Kenya and visited many renewable solar and hydroelectric energy plants. We studied how these technologies can be integrated in developing countries to achieve the most sustainable development from a technical and social point of view.
Nel corso di questo viaggio ho avuto modo di conoscere alcune aziende, in particolare una startup di giovani imprenditori.
I also got to know some companies and in particular a startup of young entrepreneurs from all over the world in the field of energy access, like rural electrification in areas far from big cities. But what do we mean by access to energy? In villages far from big cities where the national electricity grid does often not exist, people often equip themselves with small photovoltaic panels to power bulbs or recharge their mobile phones. The wealthier ones can sometimes afford to buy diesel generators, which are extremely expensive and even polluting.
Quello che noi facciamo è proporre
We promote the use of the most innovative renewable technologies in the three fundamental aspects of sustainability: environmental, social and economic.
Sostenibilità ambientale in quanto
environmental sustainability because we are replacing obsolete and impacting technologies like diesel with renewables such as solar and hydroelectric power. Social sustainability because access to energy has a huge impact on the communities involved with these projects. Just think of being able to pump and purify water, or lighting the streets and houses at night, so that people can work, read, and study in the evening, optimizing all the agricultural and production processes of the area. Above all, the most important aspect is job creation, both directly, because we employ staff in the villages where we work, and indirectly, by stimulating micro-entrepreneurship. In this field, something quite significant was that we have hired electricians in the villages where we work. They are highly qualified, but have to go to the big cities to find work. Thanks to our projects, they now have a steady job that allows them to develop professionally in their homes, villages, and gives them the opportunity to develop their own community without having to look for alternatives elsewhere. Our customers have a very low spending capacity. Their average income is often less than $1 a day, and this calls for extremely innovative and creative business models. We rely on the productive use of energy, which means that our ultimate goal is not to turn on a light bulb or recharge a mobile phone in these places, but bring the full potential of energy. Everything that can be done with energy, and see how to enhance the value chain within the context of which we operate. We are talking about agriculture, the grain mill, or ice for fishermen to preserve their fish, or, for example, milk preservation and pasteurization.
O ad esempio la conservazione del latte e la pastorizzazione. Tutto questo lo facciamo attraverso programmi di microcredito.
We do all this through microcredit programs, trying to make it possible for local business owners to buy machinery for their work. Secondly, setting up small industrial plants to process raw materials and making sure that the added value remains within the community and does not go to the big cities, for example. Finally, training them to manage their own businesses. I've been in Africa for a year and a half now, and I realise that I've grown a lot from a professional, technical and human relational point of view. On the one hand, in the office, we are now a big team of people from all over the world, so there's a huge multicultural exchange. On the other hand, I've had the chance to travel to a lot of different countries and meet different and complex communities. Probably the most important thing about the work we do in these contexts is not so much bringing technology, energy or turning on the light bulb, but all the potential that comes with it in terms of community development, individual development and mutual growth. This relationship with local communities is probably what gives most value to the meaning of the work that we do.
More joy to share with others than you receive. 'Cause giving happiness and stress in our relationship, there is more joy to share with others than you receive. 'Cause giving happiness and stress in our relationship. From everywhere we hear the distress cries of women and children, because their fears have become narrow ground. They're reaching up at no one, their tail crabs, in a new mountain no one can raise. There is more joy to share with others than you receive, 'cause it's giving happiness and strength for a relationship. There is more joy to share with others than we receive, 'cause it's
Salut tout le monde. Je suis ravie d'accueillir.
Hi everyone. I am delighted to welcome Prisk to be with us today. He is a lawyer and a human rights activist in the Democratic Republic of Congo and is the president of the Justice and Peace Commission at St. Clement Parish in Kinshasa. Hi Prisk. Can you tell us why you chose law? And how did you take advantage within your profession of your activism in human rights so as to help your community?
Merci Pascal pour ta question.
Thank you, Pascal, for your question. My choice of law is explained by the fact that I wanted to fulfill a dream. Since I was a child, I have always dreamed of being someone who defends the rights of the oppressed. That's why I went to law school and became a lawyer. My human rights activism is justified by the fact that many people in my community are victims of human rights abuses, in particular arbitrary, arrest, confiscation of their property, their belongings, detention in inhumane conditions, and payment of fines that do not exist. So because I know the law, and as I am Jen, I felt obliged to help them. So, since 2017, we started organising human rights training, civic education training, and free legal advice and assistance.
Et est-ce qu'il y a des personnes
Are there people who oppose your initiatives? And how do you manage to overcome them and move forward?
La police nous voit justement comme leur ennemi, d'autant plus.
The police see us as their enemy, all the more so when we contribute to the emancipation of citizens by making them aware of their rights. So, courage and the rejection of fear are effective ways of dealing with this opposition. That is why, whenever we are faced with opposition, we use the legal means that are recognised, and above all, the fact that we are lawyers to get round that opposition. And it is with this courage and determination that we managed to obtain the release of a boy who was innocent, but who was unjustly arrested, and detained simply because his family had no money and had no chance of finding a lawyer.
C'est dans ce même élan que nous avions encore résolu un conflit foncier.
In the same way, we also settled a land dispute with a widow who had divided her land in two and sold it to two different people. The second buyer, being in bad faith, also wanted to take the part allocated to the first buyer. In front of the judge, we helped this widow. We gave each buyer the right portion of the land, and the widow was able to get her money back.
Et la veuve avait récupéré son argent parce qu'elle avait vendu sa parcelle. Alors c'est à travers ces initiatives-là que nous avons aujourd'hui.
It is through these initiatives that we now have a platform for reflection and sharing experiences on human rights, and certainly with the intercession of Chiara in heaven, we work together for the emancipation of the human person and respect for their most fundamental rights.
Personne humaine dans ses droits les plus fondamentaux. Voilà, et merci beaucoup. Je souhaite à tout un.
Thank you very much. I wish you all a happy United World Week.
Merci beaucoup, Prisk.
Thank you very much, Prisk. It's really great to know how much you are doing for human rights and campaigning for justice. Thank you so much.
Bye.
We go from Congo to South Sudan, where we are joined by Dr. Melchior Nsavamana, who is currently working for the UN Humanitarian Air Service. Thank you, Melchior, for taking the time to join us.
Thank you.
Melchior, in South Sudan, 6 years of civil war have claimed the lives of 400,000 people. 6 million people are on the brink of famine, and now they face the COVID-19 pandemic. How is the situation there today?
Thank you for the question. The situation in South Sudan is very, very difficult in terms of humanitarian needs. It also is a new country, independent, also a new country which need more support in terms of infrastructure and health. So this pandemic came to a situation which was already dramatical. But now we are talking about lockdown, which means there's no way even for a humanitarian community to continue to help the people in need because of this challenge related to the coronavirus.
And this responding to challenges type of leadership is something that you also explore as part of the Together for a New Africa program, of which you're a pioneer. It promotes a collective style of leadership in response to challenges just like this. What do you think there is in that programme that can help not only South Sudan and Africa at this moment, but also the whole world respond to these massive challenges?
Where we are discussing what is our role after the corona pandemic outbreak. So I think that what other young people or other initiatives can learn from us is to be protagonists during, and to be also protagonists after the outbreak, to be ready to contribute for what the world will ask in terms of economy, political leadership, social leadership, etc. I think that's now it's the point really where we need to come and show this is leadership for unity. We are fighting for, and we can just witness now, right now, during our outbreak, but also will be on that leadership which will build the future of the world.
Thank you, Melchior, not only for the work you're doing there in South Sudan, this very important humanitarian work, but also this leadership work you're doing across all of Africa. If you want to learn more about the Together for a New Africa programme, visit the website togetherforanewafrica.org.
Now, over to Gen Verde for the world premiere of their new video, Solo La Luce, Only Light. This song is inspired by the words of Martin Luther King, and his family have given permission to Gen Verde to use these words, calling it a noble project.
Lavoro in un caffè della Virginia, dove faccio la cameriera, e servire per me e metterci il cuore. Un giorno presento il conto a un cliente e lui mi scrive sullo scontrino: non diamo alla mancia a persone di colore. Attento, le tue parole fanno male solo a te stesso. Il muro del tuo disprezzo non mi fermerà mai. E se ritornerai ti accoglierò un'altra volta, perché l'amore è più forte, un giorno capirai. Darkness cannot drive.
Il buio non può vincere l'oscurità. Solo la luce potrà. E l'odio non può vincere la crudeltà. Solo l'amore lo fa.
Io ero ancora una bambina di una grande città filippina, quando d'improvviso la dura notizia: mio padre ucciso senza motivo. Conoscevo il suo assassino, ma per chi non è ricco non c'è mai giustizia. Col tempo cresceva sempre più il rancore in fondo al mio cuore, la voglia di vendicarlo uccideva solo me. Finché ho deciso di rispondere con il perdono, adesso sono più forte, sono libera. Darkness cannot drive out the dark.
Il buio non può vincere l'oscurità. Solo la luce potrà. E l'odio non può vincere la crudeltà. Solo l'amore lo fa.
Camminavo ogni giorno per i corridoi della scuola, lo sguardo sempre basso, in mezzo a tanti ero sola. Sentivo addosso tutta quella rabbia di chi nel branco crede d'essere più forte e con parole false e arroganti spacca il cervello e ti augura la morte. Da sconosciuti in rete umiliata, io volevo sparire, mi sentivo sbagliata. Quante lacrime versate nel silenzio di un'assurda vergogna, senza via di uscita, come un topo nella fogna. Tu ti nascondi, adesso l'ho capito, forse sei tu che hai bisogno di aiuto. È vero, l'odio mi può far cadere, ma dalla polvere mi posso rialzare. E la paura no, non vincerà sulla mia voglia di amare.
Darkness cannot drive out the dark.
Il buio non può vincere l'oscurità. Solo la luce potrà.
Economia Desarmata, or Unarmed Economy, realized that many weapons were being produced by their country, and some were being used in armed conflicts. They wanted to stop this. Let's listen to what they are doing to change this.
In Sardinia, 3 anni fa,
3 years ago, we realized that a local factory in Sardinia, RWM, was producing aircraft bombs that were sold to Saudi Arabia and used for the war in Yemen. We said to ourselves, so war starts here because war starts where the weapons are made. Therefore, peace can also start from our town. Following a Run for Unity event that concluded with a public meeting, we created a committee made up of more than 20 groups that were already working for peace at local, national and international level. They came together to talk about this, and with great mutual trust, we worked to encourage reflection and action in local and national politics. We have organized events and study conferences. Now we are working on a project for the reconversion of the local economy towards peace.
A Genova abbiamo pensato che questo debba essere il tempo della pace.
In Genoa, we thought this must be the time for peace. Last May, we heard that a ship owned by the Saudi company Bahri was passing through our port, just a short distance from our homes, carrying weapons and loading other military equipment.
Con circa 30 associazioni locali abbiamo deciso di mobilitare.
Together with some 30 local associations, we decided to mobilize to support the port workers who were refusing to load more weapons, and to inform citizens and involve local politicians so that they could take their responsibility seriously and enforce Law 185, passed in 1990, which expressly prohibits the production, sale and export of weapons to countries engaged in conflict.
Questo ha portato a due decisioni importanti.
This led to two important decisions. First, the Liguria Regional Council approved the so-called Assisi motion in May. Second, the Genoa City Council did the same thing a few weeks later in June, to reiterate that our city doesn't want weapons and does want peace.
An economy without armaments began in the Focolare movement to promote peace, starting from economic reconversion and disarmament. We network in Italy with other groups, such as the Disarmament and Peace Network, Pax Christi, the Ethical Bank and Amnesty International. We organise training events so as to act concretely in our cities, as we did in Sardinia, Genoa and many others. In November, thousands of us will meet at the Economy of Francesco event to commit ourselves to re-establishing the principles of economics, and economics that is peaceful. Contact us on social media and let's network. Let's look around where we live and ask ourselves, how can I build peace? Starting from me, starting here, today. Together we can be the change that responds to injustice, a change in time for peace.
I think singing helps us overcome any fear we might be feeling about the coronavirus. This is why the pub choir was created in Brisbane, Australia. It has over 1,000 people, and in this video you're about to see, they sing Close to You by the Carpenters.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time I need you are here? Just like me, they long to be close to you. They want to be close.
C'è un paese nel cuore di tutti noi.
There is a country in all our hearts, a country rich in art, history and culture with truly extraordinary beauty. A country, however, that has been destroyed by a war that has lasted almost 10 years and has brought this country to the brink of a truly unprecedented catastrophe. I'm talking about Syria. Syria, which, by the way, is facing the coronavirus emergency, being crushed by a very heavy embargo, almost total, which makes the living conditions of men, women, children practically dramatic. We might say cruel.
Potremmo dire crudeli. Allora,
that is also why the International Association New Humanity has launched an appeal to the United Nations to overcome this embargo and to make medicines and all other forms of medical care accessible. So far, the appeal has reached and collected 8,000 signatures, but you can see for yourselves that this is not enough. This is not enough. More must be done. This appeal must be made known, it must be shared, it must be pursued in every possible way to bring it to all spheres of society. Father George also asks us this, and from Aleppo he takes us straight to the heart of the Syrian people.
بدي أحكي لكم عن حلب بشكل خاص. بعد 9 سنين حرب.
We are a people who haven't made it yet. I'll tell you about Aleppo in particular. After 9 years of war, on February 16, 2020, the last district of Aleppo had just been liberated, and the people began to draw breath, to dream of a better economy, a more human life, without fear of war. No more bombs should fall. Instead, less than 2 weeks later, a bomb fell very near us. We were forced to stay at home. There was no respite. We found ourselves in a very big crisis. How can price of any kind of food rise overnight? So we can no longer even buy it. I would like to ask the world, can a reality like the one we are experiencing be tolerated? Is it possible that all this happens just because there is a political decision that denies me the right to live with dignity?
Please.
I would like to ask you, please defend us. Speak up. Say that there are people in the world today who have been denied so much because there are politicians who have power who have decided to deny them their rights. Thank you.
Avete sentito le parole di Padre George?
You have heard Father George's powerful words. They are a call to action. They really push us to do something for this people. Now let's hear Jessica tell us how the young people are living there in Aleppo, and then we'll also hear from Tawfiq, a pediatrician, also from Aleppo, who tells us what they are experiencing these very days.
فكرنا كشبيبة مع بعض هون ببانياس إنه نحن كلنا عنا نفس الخوف. فليش ما بنتشارك مع بعض نطمن على بعض ومنصلي كل يوم بيت من المسبحة. شوي حسيت إنه الخوف لما بشاركه مع الآخر تأثيره بيقل. بشبيبة اللاذقية رجعنا تذكرنا العيال يلي ساعدناهم بعيد الميلاد وقدمنا لهم دعم غذائي. هن 30 عائلة. فكرنا إنه بهيدي الفترة كيف عم يقدروا يعيشوا، خصوصي إنه كل شي مسكر ولا في شغل، وخصوصي إنه كلهم عندهم أولاد صغار بالبيت. فكرنا نرجع نزورهم ونقدم لهم هيك مبادرات بسيطة تقدر تدعمهم بهيدي الفترة لحتى تسندهم نوعاً.
بشكل عام نحن الشعب في عنا بحلب أكثر من 70-80% تحت خط الفقر، بيعتمدوا كتير على المشافي الدولة. هاي المشافي للأسف ما بتحسن تخدم العدد الكبير، وخاصة لأجهزة التنفس الاصطناعي. هلا بنحكي على أكبر مشفى موجود، يمكن ما عنا غير 10 أجهزة تنفس اصطناعي. فنحن بعتقد عم نعاني من مشكلة بالواقع الطبي. ويمكن الحمد لله الكورونا ما كتير انتشر عنا، بس لو انتشر رح يعمل أزمة حقيقية صحية بالبلد. فعشان هيك بحاجة كتير دعم، بحاجة رفع الحصار.
We are connected to Bologna, where Professor Romano Prodi is listening to us from his home. Good morning, Professor. Thank you for being here with us today.
Buongiorno a voi.
Good morning to you. All the best for everything you do.
Grazie.
Thanks. Look, we have seen these three testimonies from Syria, and I would like to start right here. I would like to ask you an impression of what we have just seen.
What can I say? Three testimonies, all of the one single disaster. Truly, it's been 10 years now that Syrians have suffered at the hands of one side or the other. What have things come to? That is what I ask myself. So, signing something against the embargo on medical supplies has to be a first step, because it's a widespread tragedy. I'm signing because at least we can relieve a little of today's suffering.
Sollevare un pochino delle sofferenze di oggi. Ecco, in questo senso l'appello è proprio una specie.
In this sense, the appeal is just a kind of last resort, because it affects the medical supplies in a country that has been at war for 10 years and no longer has health facilities that work.
Is it possible to believe in fraternity even at such a difficult time?
Siamo sinceri, se facciamo un'analisi politica siamo dei sognatori.
Let's be sincere. If we analyze it politically, we are dreamers. However, we must start out from even the tiniest things in order to create bonds. This terrible pandemic has generated some bonds of solidarity.
Parecchi legami di solidarietà ci sono stati, alcuni strumentali.
Indeed, quite a few. Some have been instrumental, some less so. But it's not that we can act on the basis of an exceptional situation to build bonds that have been broken.
Io credo che bisognerà ritornare al fatto che
I believe that we must go back to the fact that there should be no excessive prohibitions at all, or very limited ones. Meanwhile, in the international context, a structure should be reorganized to help some Asian areas, and especially Africa, to re-establish relationships there where bonds have been ever more broken.
Costituiscono dei fili di rapporti che si sono sempre più rotti.
Le chiedo un'ultima cosa, professore. Che cosa?
I ask you one last thing. What would you like to say to all those who are listening right now?
Soprattutto ai giovani, no? Sognare.
Especially to the young people. We must dream. Dreaming is helpful, but working together is needed for that dream to become any kind of reality. So what I see and ask is to communicate with one another, and teamwork, joint studies.
Comunicazione fra di loro, lavoro di squadra, studio congiunto, iniziative come questa.
Initiatives like these that can act as leaven. This is what needs to be done. Woe to those who are alone in this circumstance.
Va bene, grazie.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor, for being with us today, and thank you for this significant contribution. Thank you very much.
Grazie a voi e speriamo di uscire di casa presto, ecco.
We really hope. Bye, thank you.
Grazie.
My name is Dr. Siba Suleiman. I'm an emergency physician from Melbourne, Australia. I signed this petition because I believe in human rights. I came from Iraq and I saw what's suffering and embargo on Iraq for many years, and the Syrians are suffering too.
I'm Nali. I'm from Angola. I'm a pharmacist, currently working in the UK, and I'm signing this petition because I think we need to do what we can so that no country is left out on this global battle against COVID-19.
Loving another, two hands reaching out. We can cover the world with love. Starting with this moment. We can make a change.
Yeah, we can make a change.
If we love those around us, maybe they will do the same. Though we have a small voice, and just a simple song, let's place it in the heart of another, so they can pass it on. It starts with one heart loving another, two hands reaching out. We can cover the world with love. Two voices singing together, one song ringing out. We can cover the world with love. Cover the world.
Take out your phones and open your computers. Go ahead, follow the link below and sign the petition. Let us do our part to be in time for peace today. Thank you, Shania, Risa, Dia, and Faith. Let's stay in India, then move ahead to our friends in Pakistan, then little further ahead to our friends in the Philippines, where individuals and communities are showing those most in need. We're here for you. We're in solidarity with you. We're close to you. Let's watch.
On 22nd March, India announced a 15-day lockdown as a preventive measure against the coronavirus outbreak. This left many migrant workers stranded with no source of income, struggling to pay the rent or even buy their daily food. In Bandra, at the heart of Mumbai, one of India's major metropolitan cities, thousands were affected.
When the lockdown was being announced, I had bought some good stuff for the family in excess so that we don't need to worry for the whole month. But then I realized, like, looking at the situation where in my surrounding there are a lot of people who are not getting a meal to eat properly. So I decided why not to give some of my food by cooking a meal for more than 28 migrants per day. So I practiced this for a week. Then I had no source anymore left. So what I did is I tried connecting with some local bodies here and people to come and start distributing food.
The big story that we're tracking for you this evening, those are images that we're getting to you from the Bandra station in
The lockdown was then extended for another 20 days. Right after the second lockdown was announced, over 1,000 migrants gathered in protest outside Bandra, hoping to go home. The police were forced to intervene in the situation.
The cops have taken some serious action against these people and they stopped distribution of all food from outside people, so I had no source. Right after the protest, there were a lot of news raised on the community and religion that the Muslims and the Hindus were creating a big havoc, and that's where they were trying to blame each other. But what I realized within me when I decided to cook food is that I have people of various religions with me, that is Hindu, Muslim, Christian and Catholic with me, who is ready to help me in cooking food for more than 100 migrants every day for twice a day.
The community of Muslims, Hindus and Christians now feeds more than 100 migrants twice a day.
I said, why not practice what I've learned in the folklore, and that's where I thought of the situation and started that I could also help by doing my bit and also going beyond my own borders to help these people out in this scenario.
सबको सलाम, मेरा नाम असलम है, मेरा नाम नौरीन है। तो हमारे ज़हन में अपने उन रिश्तेदारों का भी।
During the lockdown, we realized that some of our relatives were very worried because they didn't have enough to live on.
We decided together to give them some of our money so that they could at least buy what they needed.
एक रज़ाकार का ख्याल आया जो कि बेरोज़गार है
Then I also heard about a friend who was unemployed. We phoned him and sent him financial help too.
We also talked with our children at home about how we could help people in need in these difficult times. They said we could use the money they had received as a gift at Easter to give it to the poor. As the days went by, we realised that we no longer had enough money to pay the children's school fees at the end of the month, but that didn't stop us, because we felt that God was with us.
Some days later, the government announced that all the schools would reduce their monthly tuition fees by 20%. This made us very happy, and we realised we must not be afraid, but we must continue to help, because then God helps us.
Hi, we are the Noche Buena project that started in 2009. Once again, it heeds the call of the times to help those affected by the community quarantine by bringing food and water to our daily wage earners and bringing personal protective equipment and other medical supplies to our healthcare workers.
We decided to use the Noche Buena Project's platform in order to reach more people. So we could provide not just meals to our frontliners, but also the personal protective equipment that they needed to be able to do their jobs, to be able to treat people with the virus.
Naalala ko noon, immediately pag merong mga narinig kaming balita na calamity in the Philippines or somewhere else in the world, kaagad gusto naming mag-aksyon, gumawa ng tulong, no?
In 2009, a typhoon hit the Philippines, but Metro Manila was hit the hardest. There were hundreds of deaths in that community, and almost all of the homes were destroyed. We couldn't go there as the typhoon was still ongoing, but as soon as we heard this, we knew that we had to do something. Typhoon Ondoy happened in October, and a few months after was Christmas. And there were still a lot of families. We want to bring back this spirit of joy and giving, and basically the spirit of Christmas back to the families who lost all hope. For the past 11 years, we've helped over 10,000 families, giving a simple Noche Buena for them to celebrate with their families during Christmas.
Nagbo-volunteer po sila dun sa namin, sa compound namin.
They volunteered to visit and help our place. That time, I also helped in whatever I can, carrying relief goods, distributing the goods to the typhoon victims, cleaning up the area. That was what we were doing. They let me be part of the feeding program, because I was very thin and small then. I was excited to see them, because we would play ball games after being fed. I was always with them.
We decided to continuously help them, not only with the material packages, but also having a relationship with them, laughing with them, playing with the kids, and sharing stories.
Unang pag-volunteer ko po nun dati,
The first time I volunteered to work in the feeding program, I joined them. I saw the children, and I thought, 5 years earlier, I was in their place. I was being helped. Now I am the one helping. It feels so good.
We get messages from the donors saying, thank you for giving us this opportunity to be able to help. And it's really touching and encouraging to keep doing what we do at the Noche Buena Project, which is to provide hope and joy. So maybe the Philippines now has the longest Christmas celebration since we've started this early.
We are joined by Dr. Maria Esther Salamanca, Professor of International Public Law at the University of Valladolid, Spain. Hello Esther, thank you for joining us. Esther, we've just seen local solidarity in action both in Mumbai and in the Noche Buena project. COVID-19 is a global challenge that requires global solidarity. How can we effectively build this international solidarity?
Thank you, Facundo. Well, I'd say that we must be aware of belonging to humanity and be responsible for its problems, and in this sense your work is fundamental. We know that international solidarity is an expression of human fellowship. It's a social principle and a moral virtue. But it's also a legal, political, operating principle. This means that it must be put into practice at all levels, and not just reactively after crises or emergencies have already arisen, but also in a preventative and, above all, structural way. We need structural international solidarity.
Can this be an opportunity to rethink the mechanisms we use globally?
Of
course, there are more than 300 international organisations and other forms of cooperation. What happens is that when faced with major emergencies or crises, there isn't a coordinated and satisfactory response from the international community. What's wrong with that? Well, there is a lack of solidarity. What is lacking is solidarity and the spirit of unity. All these international structures of solidarity are dead. They need to be renewed. They need to be made efficient and effective, and above all, they need to be given meaning. The structures are not an end in themselves. They should serve the people and seek the common good. And in this process, states and international civil society are very important. In practice, international solidarity must be linked to subsidiarity. In this way, we can avoid the mistakes of globalization.
Thank you very much, Esther. We hope that this United World Week will be an opportunity to think more concretely about how to build this international solidarity.
Thank you.
Like the rest of the world, the coronavirus crisis has taken us by surprise, and the inequalities already existing in our country have become even more marked. Some people are isolated, yet many large families live in small shacks. It was with these families in mind that the Let's Be Light project began.
Onde está a justiça?
Where's justice? In the midst of this economic crisis caused by the coronavirus pandemic, why are the rich managing to stay afloat and the people who need help the most are suffering the consequences? This year's United World Week is about In Time for Peace. Peace, human rights, legality and justice. We know that peace dies where there is no justice. That's why we are working to get concrete solutions to uphold human rights.
In this context, the Youth for a United World and the GEN of Central West Brazil have launched the Let's Be Light project. Its sole objective is to encourage building a more united world in times of pandemic. Within this project, we have the Solidarity Campaign, where all the things collected in our community among friends, acquaintances and family are destined to families, groups, people or institutions that need it most in this time.
Nossa campanha se iniciou dia 29 de março desse ano.
The campaign was launched on the 29th of March. Initially, it aimed to raise awareness and distribute cleaning and hygiene kits and masks for the prevention of the coronavirus to communities in need. However, after checking the situation of the homeless and disadvantaged communities in our region, we saw that, in addition to cleaning and hygiene products, they also needed food, clothes and drinking water. And so the project grew, and with the help of the whole community of the Focolare movement in our region, we were able to distribute cleaning and hygiene kits, masks, food and clothes to many people in need.
Nossa primeira fase do projeto.
The first phase of the project ended on April 15th and went well. Now we are in the second phase and are working really hard to help more and more people who are in need.
One of the problems caused by the coronavirus in the world is the lack of protective masks. In many places, we're making them ourselves, also with a lot of creativity. Let's see.
When the chance to make masks came up, we thought it was a great opportunity to show solidarity and make our contribution to those who are giving their lives on the front line.
Shortly afterwards, the great news came that our masks had been approved. We worked shifts with all the people in the little town to optimise and improve production. In this beautiful working environment, with everyone's great willingness and with deep commitment, all that we produce is full of love.
In March, the situation of the coronavirus pandemic around the world was very serious. I received a message telling me that a hospital in Rome needed some face masks. So I discussed this situation with my family and then immediately went out to search for masks. We were glad when we heard that the hospital received those masks just 2 days later. I think this experience is like an encouragement of God to help us to go on loving, even when we are uncertain of the result. After that, together with the Focolare community in Macau, we did even more to help the pandemic situation. Thank you.
As United World Ambassadors of Cameroon, we have been trying to be the voice of the voiceless. We created the face masks locally to be able to give to our vulnerable population. We therefore targeted orphanages and very far remote health centers. And we know that no virus or no situation can stop us from wanting to reach to the vulnerable population of our society.
Instead of providing disposable masks that pollute the environment, we thought of creating and distributing our own washable masks made of cotton in order to maintain as much physical distance as possible. We each worked in our own house. By working on the various parts, we made about 150 masks and shared them with our neighbours who were most in need. To find out who needed the masks most and deliver them, we contacted a city councillor and the children's centre. The councillor was impressed with our activities and donated money. The neighbours were also impressed by our activities and made donations. With this money, we were able to make 70 more masks.
We are short of masks. We're short of masks especially for the third sector, for the communities, for people working in various sectors. So we're setting up a national virtual district for mask production that brings together knowledge, universities, expertise, chemical engineers, but also small manufacturers as well as logistics. It's a network of people who are at home right now, but who could start to work. If you want to help us, we need everything. We also need small dressmaking or tailoring units where there are 2 or 3 people who work together, but with a collective knowledge and ability to keep the system going. Because right now, either we are united or we won't make it. Thank you.
Things are out of line, people dying, people running out of time. Still no answer, still no real cure. We're all losing hope, but we will still endure. Every day is a new day. We're alone, all together, but not astray. All I want is to hear you say, let's be strong now to live another day. Is there reason for what's going on? Will a higher plan in all of this come breaking through the dawn? Dare to care and give a helping hand. Love will spread across this barren, lonely land. Staying home is the thing to do. Live the present day by day, and soon His love will get us through. Show your kindness in this time of need. Be a light, it's alright. Be a light for all the world to see. For all the world to see, yeah. Staying home is the thing to do. Live the present day by day, and soon His love will shine with me. Be a light, it's alright. Be a light for all the world to see. For all the world to see. For all the world to see. Things are looking weird, things are looking out of line. People really down, people running out of time. Still no answer, still no cure. We're all losing hope, but we better endure. Every day is like a new day. We're alone all together, but not astray. All I wanna do is hear you say, let's be strong to live another day.
Here it's midnight, and I'm ready to go to bed, so in a few hours I can get up and do the Run for Unity from my kitchen. Let's watch a short video that shows us how we can participate in Run for Unity 2020.
Hey, maybe you know Run for Unity, the race that usually takes place outside and with many people. This year, Run for Unity will be happening in a slightly different way. On May 3rd, we're getting the worldwide online relay race started, from 11 to 12 o'clock across all time zones. By meeting online by groups, we can do sports together from home and get creative. At 12 noon, we'll stop to take a moment to pray for peace. We can support timeout by drawing a clock with the hands at 12 and share it online. We'll pass the baton by connecting with those who live on the next time zone. And just like this, Run for Unity will extend all over the globe, despite all the difficulties. Register your group on the Run for Unity website. And all day you can follow right there and on the Facebook and Instagram pages what's happening in the world, from one time zone to the next. See you! Oh wait, I forgot something. Right now we're doing Warm Up for Unity to get to know the spirit behind the Run for Unity race. And, of course, we're also doing physical exercise. So follow us on social media and join us. Bye!
There's something really special about this Run for Unity. For 24 hours tomorrow, in Lydia in New Zealand, and for me, here in Texas, we will tell the world how we want to be in #TimeForPeace. Our friend Juani from Buenos Aires in Argentina will tell us how they will do it there.
Hola, soy Juani de Buenos Aires y mañana vamos a...
Hi, I'm Juani from Buenos Aires, and tomorrow we are going to do our Run for Unity through Zoom with the Alba Center for Intercultural Dialogue, the Betel community, and the Focolare movement. We will share our experiences during the quarantine and give an interreligious message of peace to our city and the world.
Join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. at your time zone to help us share this message of In Time for Peace. Teens for Unity also wanted to help out during this difficult time, so they started a new initiative. Let's check it out.
Teens is now a news broadcast too.
Welcome to Teens News, made by teenagers for teenagers, which gathers news from all over the world.
In this first edition, live from home, we will tell the experiences of young people around the world who are experiencing this pandemic.
Let's start immediately with the first report from Spain.
This experience of isolation is becoming a great opportunity to realise that we can love even living within a few square metres.
We are now moving to Bergamo, one of the areas in Italy worst affected by COVID-19.
For the last 3 weeks, I've been working with 2 friends on a music project.
The coronavirus is a kind of invisible enemy that's difficult to fight, but some people are experiencing other wars.
Hi, I'm Paolo from Aleppo. The coronavirus crisis that the whole world is experiencing is very difficult. Hi, I'm George from Damascus. The coronavirus also has a positive side because it has taught us how to improve our health habits.
Today is Earth Day, and talking of the environment, let's hear from someone at a middle school in Ferrara who, together with her class, helped protect the environment.
When I got home, I noticed that my parents produced too much unsorted waste, so I decided to help them sort out. And shortly afterwards, we noticed there was much less unsorted waste.
And if you want to stay tuned to other experiences from all over the world, go to our website or to our email, which is shown here on the screen.
Special thanks to everyone, and see you at the next Teen News.
Welcome, Emmaus.
A very special greeting to everyone.
Ecco, siamo arrivati praticamente alla fine.
Emmaus, here we are. We're nearly at the end of our marathon. What are your thoughts about it? How can we go ahead now?
You've asked me two very important questions. The first, what's my impression at the end of this marathon? It's an impression of great joy, of great gratitude for the testimony of Chiara's family that's living and working throughout the world to build a more united world, a world in peace, a world that's one family. But let me say a very special thank you to the young people who've worked for this moment, to the young people who've dedicated their enthusiasm, their creativity, their courage, their physical strength, their experience in social networks and the media to lead all of this, which has led to this result. What is the result? It's been to highlight, to show at least some of the many experiences and expressions of this life of Chiara's family. So a really big and heartfelt thanks to all the young people. I say it again, the young people never disappoint me, so thank you. Then you ask me how to go ahead. First of all, go ahead. You can't stop. The United World Week lasts just 1 week, but we must always work for United World. So I'd like to transform the idea of a United World Week into a United World present moment. In every present moment, we live and work for a united world. And what drives us? Love drives us. Love has pushed us and must continue to push us. It's love that makes us take care of others, of creation, of all the needs around us. And what gives us the strength in this work? We've experienced it. Our strength has come and can only come from the unity of all. It's the strength of unity that urges us on, and that makes us see the sufferings and take on the sufferings, crying with those who cry, but at the same time giving witness to joy. We've seen this in the whole link-up. There were tears too, there was difficulty, but above all there was so much joy. Then, of course, once a year, the United World Week will take place. There'll be the Run for Unity, and those are times to show everyone this reality, but all year round. Not only do we have to live, but all year round we have the United World Project that allows us to participate in and put into the networks all the experiences we have, all the initiatives, all the ideas that we'll have. So we must continue, definitely. And then we're seeing that this crisis that involves us all is also an opportunity, we might say, that is making us change our limited outlook and open up to horizons that include all humanity. So we're truly living for humanity. And that's another reason why here at the Centre we are setting up, what can I call it, a committee, like an emergency committee, which, starting from this vision of unity, will look at the crisis situation all over the world and will promote, support and spread the various initiatives within the movement. So this is something important and it's new, and we want it to be for the whole world. At the same time and with the same purpose, we're also launching in the whole movement all over the world an extraordinary communion of goods. We're opening a special bank account so that by a continuous giving and receiving, this account can promote and support the various initiatives and give to every little gesture of love that we do in a zone or here at the centre, wherever it is, the breadth of unity and the breadth of universality that only the unity of the whole movement can give. So everyone's needs can converge here at the centre, and from here help can be provided for all. This extraordinary communion of goods will help the movement all over the world and be alongside everyone. So, with these two means that will help us to live this unity throughout the whole movement, I send a big hug to everyone. I'd like to give a virtual hug to the whole world that's watching me, that's listening to me. And with this hug, I'd like to wish everyone continued success for a united world and for building peace, because we're in time to build peace. And this is the time to build peace, which for us means unity above all. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Mouse. Thank you. Let's go on with love and joy.
With love and unity, of course.
Eccoci, siamo alle battute finali, abbiamo quasi terminato. Abbiamo veramente toccato tutti gli angoli del mondo per capire che cosa significhi veramente in Time for Peace.
A pesquisa continua. Durante o resto da semana, temos mais de 200 eventos online em mais de 70 cidades. E você pode encontrar detalhes de todos os eventos em unitedworldproject.org/UWW. Participe, convide seus amigos e continue essa conversa.
But it's not enough to listen to these experiences and not do anything about it.
Question that to be in time for peace is something to believe.
It's about rolling up your sleeves in every local community.
In every corner of the world.
Para responder a la injusticia y a la desigualdad.
Œuvrer pour la protección des droits de l'homme.
Para construir comunidades de solidaridad y cuidado mutuo.
ومشان هيك اليوم لازم نبلش نمضي هيدا العريضة.
To stop an embargo that hurts the Syrian people.
But that's only the start. But ser in time for peace è preciso mais do que isso.
Benissimo, allora raccogliamo questa sfida, siamo pronti, cominciamo subito, non solo firmando l'appello, ma anche visitando il sito di United World Project, dove trovate tutte le storie, le esperienze legate a questa settimana Mondo Unito e chiaramente tanto di più. Il prossimo appuntamento con il collegamento CH è per sabato 13 giugno.
Ciao!
I made some big mistakes and I said some things I shouldn't think out loud.